think Jessie is really wise, just maybe was born that way, in that she knows that in order to play a human being, or in this case, three human beings, really all the colors are required. You know, not just the beautiful, but also the really ugly, not just the smart, intellectual intelligence, also the totally irrational, wild thinking, not, you know, it's all of it. I want all of it. And I think when that's offered to an audience, usually it feels comforting because people go, oh, whoa, I didn't even know that other people felt like this, but she's telling me they do. And so in this role, that's part of what this movie is about, and I needed her.
Well, it was unlike anything I'd ever read before. It was a very, very new language. Even the kind of elements of it, the kind of what Maggie was putting together was something huge and something I hadn't read or seen before. And to have a character who has never had a voice before be given an opportunity to really say what she really thinks. And to be looking for a relationship to hold all of that in his hands and in the world's hand. I mean, yes. Like, I want to be part of that. That's exactly what I dare to kind of step into. And we'd worked together before, and it was totally clear to me that we were speaking a similar language. And I mean, to get the opportunity to work with somebody again only gives you more depth. Like, if you're going to be brave and you know that it's already good, it's like, whoa, we can go somewhere deep under the bed of the ocean. And that is exactly where I want to go in my life and my work.
Our Frank, I don't think he would call himself a monster. You know, he's a being, a person. And I needed somebody who was so many things, a mix of so many things. I mean, Frankenstein's monster in the book is so smart. He basically hangs out in a barn and learns French just by listening to some people talking in the room next door. Doesn't he like find a suitcase and reads the books and then he like knows all about philosophy? He's incredibly smart. He's also so vulnerable. His need is so big. His heart is so big. All he wants is someone to love. And he's also a monster, full of rage. He does some monstrous things. He's also funny. He can smash someone's head in and also,
Steal a shrimp.
steal a shrimp and also grab your head and kiss you. I needed all of it. And I just like let my imagination run wild. Who do I want? And I figured, you know what? I'll just ask who I really want. And if he says no, I can handle it. And he didn't.
I loved working with Christian. I mean, we all know how incredible he is. Every project he takes on, he reveals something else that we didn't expect. So that was just a given. Like, I knew that I was stepping into a very, very alive, exciting experience. I think because of who our Frank was, the kind of tenderness and this character who just held his heart in his hand and allowed me as a woman to hold my wildness and my heart in my hand and for it to be met was, you can only hope that somebody will be able to hold that space with you. And we certainly did together, and it was like the roller coaster of my heart. And I love him. I think he's extraordinary in this film. I loved being his bride.
You know, in everybody, to varying degrees, this sense of isolation, the sense of wanting to be able to connect with people, but not maybe being able to do so, you know. We have that so much in our lives, don't we, of, just wanting more, wanting to be able to let people know how much we love them, what they feel, etc. Regrets over when, things have gone wrong. This guy is like a giant man-child who just didn't know how to live life at all, and I'm sure we all can look back on our earlier selves and kind of feel some kind of kinship with that. But then also the great liberty and freedom that he finds through this partner, through love, that allows him to reinvent himself and live an extraordinary life still, you know, despite his past. You've got to try to get out of the shadow of all of the other iconic portrayals. And there's been many, 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 which I'm sure a lot of people don't know about, but the iconic portrayals are, of course, Karloff, right? And then you've, of course, got people's imaginations from what they read of Mary Shelley's book. And so trying to figure out, how do you do that? Why should I do that? But I feel like we found a way, you know, I feel like we found a way where I incorporated, I had a real story about it, about how he existed before Mary Shelley's book, etc. What they got wrong, Frank reading that, I had the book in Frank's pocket, you know, then what Karloff got right, what he got wrong as well, and Frank having to watch that and see his life kind of told, but getting it slightly wrong, you know, in that way. But then the absolute explosion of fireworks that is the bride and the journey that she takes him on. Well, fantastic, because I don't watch that many movies. So I had watched Maggie's movie, The Lost Daughter, which Jessie is great in, and Maggie did a wonderful job in. And then I got to see both of them bringing these incredible talents to bear. But it's a wonderful thing when you haven't seen somebody in many movies. They are that character, you know? And so she just was the bride, you know? And she goes for it completely, you know? She's everything that you want in a performer and a storyteller, and so is Maggie. And Maggie's bringing to bear all of her talents as an actress. You know, we worked together, obviously, on The Dark Knight. And she's extraordinary, you know? And both of them, I think, are real forces of nature, and we're going to be seeing a lot of incredible work from the pair of them. This is a film I really wanted to see. I feel like even though I was right there, Maggie added some wonderful elements of surprise. It's something that is completely heartfelt. And what I love is just when you cannot forget certain parts of a movie. It just keeps running through your head again and again and again. And where you have that urge, you got to go revisit. You know, you got to go revisit, because you might not be certain why, but just something caught that wonderful imagination, which is what the best movies do. Yeah. Well, we wanted to keep him human, so Maggie didn't do any sort of effects upon any of the voice or whatever. But you know, I'm 6 foot, and we were trying to make him into, you know, like at least a 6'5" character. And you know, there's an idea that the Frankenstein's monster should have. He's certainly not going to have a squeaky voice, right? Unless you hear him putting on the Ritz, you know. So there's a primal scream attitude, right, throughout, a punk attitude that they have, something that is just a protest against the absurdities of life, which are all the more apparent when you are reborn in that fashion. And then, you know, offset, it became something just useful for me for getting that deeper voice, through getting the raspier voice through screaming. And also just everyone loved it, you know. We had to spend so much time in prosthetics, all of the wonderful makeup artists. If I would ever start walking out without doing the scream, they'd say, hey, Christian, stop. And we would all scream together. It was really unifying. And by the end of the film, we'd have the whole damn crew would be coming along to take part in that primal scream.